Emily Ferry.
Arlene Schofield.
My name is Shireen Snow.
My name is Carla A. Miles.
Diana Camuto.
This is Christine Dunford.
I'm me, Eden.
Caroline Macy. This is Walker Fannin.
I'm Camille Dixon.
I'm Sarah Dates Wardam.
My name is Linda Preston, and you're watching the Keith Andrew Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Keith Andrew Network. This is episode 428. I'm here with Katia, the beautiful and talented Katia. I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, for people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities. That you should never give up and you should prove people wrong. Show them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be and how you got to live your life. And you should prove to them you can break the labels. So that being said, a half hour of your time, you can say anything you want. And it's freedom of speech, self-expression. That's what uncensored is, freedom of uncensored. Freedom of speech, self-expression. You can get up, walk around. You can say anything you want. This is your time. And starting off, what can you tell us about yourself?
What can I tell about myself? I mean, I grew up in Brazil. I was born and raised over there. And I came to United States about like 19 years ago to study film and TV. And from there, I just fell in love and I decided to stay. So, but I haven't been working on film and TV since then. I started, I went to school, I finished school, and then I moved to New York and I stopped working over there. And I decided to start working with film and TV again about 3 years ago. And that was because I fell in love with sign language. And since then, I've been working with TV, mostly films, trying to make films with all deaf actors. And that's my goal right now.
No, absolutely. Yeah, if you have a dream, you have a passion, you should go for it.
Right. Exactly. I mean, it's just like, it was something that I had before, many, many years ago. And I just gave up on it. But then, it was always like inside me. I always wanted to, work with films and everything. That's why I came. And then I just put together now like my passion for film and my falling in love with the sign language and deaf culture. And I just put both together and I start working exclusively with them.
No, absolutely. And you mentioned you also are from Brazil. So making a transition from one country to another, was the transition hard? And what were some of your favorite things about Brazil that you miss?
The transition is always hard. I mean, luckily, when I was in Brazil, I was already on my own. So, being on my own here, it was not that much of a difference. But obviously, the language barrier, I still have, like, my English is not 100% perfect.
Neither is mine.
Yeah, well, but, I have a lot of prejudice and discrimination because, I didn't speak English well. Sometimes not even because I didn't hear, but because I didn't know what they say. Like, you speak very fast or something like that. It's not my first language. So sometimes I didn't catch the whole, expression or phrase, whatever. So they have an accent on the phone. I couldn't get a job that would be like answering phones because I have an accent. So all those kind of things like kind of step put me in a step back because it's an immigration. Is I have all the kind of problems like people don't like it. Some people allow you to work, but it's not the work that you want. It's always like many times. So I had that big of a problem to adapt with the social life of it. But as far as living for myself, that was okay for me. But what I miss about Brazil, since you asked, I miss mostly like the food because it's a completely different food, a lot healthier over there than those hamburgers and Taco Bells and all those kind of. Yeah, I mean I love it, but it's something that you just can't trade it. And I don't cook for myself because it's just me. And when I was in Brazil, I used to cook for like 2, 3 people. Sometimes like my brother or my boyfriend, whatever. But in here, it's just me all the time, and I don't want to cook just for me. So most of the time, I eat a lot of hamburgers and tacos and stuff, but I miss the regular food, homemade food that I used to have over there. And family, like I'm alone here, so all my family's over there. So yeah, family, support and things like that. I do miss that. That's it.
Oh, good thing we have Skype and Facebook. You can talk to your family anytime you like.
Yes, I do talk to my family, but it's not the same.
Right.
It's not like I can go visit them or I can stay over, have fun together. It's not exactly the same.
It's true. Now, I almost said when I came over. When you came over, what was your very first job? And you mentioned you're also a CEO of your own company. So, did you create your company when you were in Brazil? Or did you create the company when
Kind
you
of
came over to
crash.
the States?
Oh, okay. You crashed before. I didn't.
Hi, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
here.
Skype has been acting up all day.
Right.
So the question I asked was, you mentioned that, what was your first job when you came over to the States? And you mentioned you were also a CEO of your own company. Did you create that company when you were in Brazil? Or did you create the company when you came over to the States? And for
Oh,
go ahead.
oh, sorry. The I came as a student. I was, young, or just out of college. So I didn't have anything in Brazil. I was just, I finished college in Brazil and then I came over here for an extension course. And as a student, as a, international student, I cannot work. So my very first work was actually in a Taco Bell in school. So it's nothing, we again, you're an immigrant, so you don't have the opportunities most of people have. Um, so from there, the first work that I have, first job that I have, that was not an immigrant kind of thing. It would be in a real estate office. And I was a receptionist over there, and but it was in a community that is all Portuguese, so they definitely wanted somebody who have 2, 3 languages to talk. So that's why I got the job. But that's also what took me out of the entertainment because from there, then I start working with real estate. Then I start, creating my business as a real estate professional. So I worked with real estate for pretty much like 11 years before I came back to TV and film, the entertainment business. Now, my company, what I opened, I was just basically recently when I started working again as in the entertainment. I I decided that I started doing a film series and I have a couple films done, everything under my name, and that's not good in the business. The business, you need to protect yourself with some kind of company. So that's why I created a company for that business to have just continue working, doing my films under a business, for myself.
Okay. What about, you also mentioned you work with the disabled.
I work with deaf people, with deaf actors.
What inspired you to work with deaf actors, and what was your whole story behind it?
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to put it there. I work that I know deafness is a disability, but I don't work with other type of disability, just deaf. The thing is, I was actually working. It's a weird story. I was actually working in my real estate company, um, and doing some last minute marketing. Um, kind of work, and I was assuming myself that I have like, okay, I have about like 2 hours more to work, and I just want to have something in the background, some kind of sound in the background. So I put Netflix, and I wanted something like mellow, not too much of action and everything, because I just wanted to sound and I don't want to be involved in the film or whatever. So I found this TV show called Switch of Birth, and I didn't know it was a TV show. I thought it was just a 2 hour film. And when I saw it was 40 minutes and the film or the episode has finished. And then I got hooked because now I wanted to see the second episode, the third episode. And then, I end up watching the whole series, like at least the first season of the series, the whole time. And if you don't know Switcherboard is at least the first season was about 50% about deafness, and they have all the deaf actors, like everybody signing and everything. And I just look at it and I'm like, I fell in love. I'm like, they are beautiful working. It's like it's a body language. They don't say anything. They are everything sign languages. So they have an amazing expression when they go to perform. They have all the body language, the expression, how they do. And I'm like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. I wanted to, get to know more about it. And that's when I start looking for more information of how to sign, what a sign language is, how the deaf community live, and everything. And then it's been like now 4 years, and I didn't stop since then.
No,
That's my story.
absolutely. I bet you met a lot of very, very interesting people.
Oh yeah, I mean, from the deaf community, I met many people. I used to live in New York back then, so they had a big Broadway show, The Spring Awakening, that was brought from California there, and they stayed for like 5 months or 6 months, whatever, on Broadway. It was a theater, a big theater on Broadway over there. So from there, I met a lot of friends that are my friends now. So it was pretty amazing.
Do you have any funny stories that you have over the years, or funny incidents that turn into funny stories?
Uh, Funny story. Not sure. I'm not very much of a funny person. I may have some crazy story that is not too funny, but yeah, I was like, I can remember a little bit that when I was in New York still, I had I used to volunteer for the New York Deaf Theater. I worked there for about a year and a half, and I volunteered for like 3 years. And over there, it was just we meet a lot of people especially when they're in production. We meet a lot of people, and I know that sometimes when somebody that is like a big name or something would go and I'll go crazy. I'm like, I want to take a picture. I want to take a picture, because I've seen them, in a movie or on a TV show, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that. And it was just those kind of like crazy things, like, I want to see him, I want to see her, or, talk to her and things like that. People that you never think it would meet. So I'm like, I work with that, but I'm like, I'm the same. I'm a fan too. If I like the person's job and I'm just go, oh, please can I get a picture or something? Yeah. So I'm like a little bit crazy, but
No, I can relate. I remember when I met Malena Perez over in Middletown, New York for an autograph, and I was like second or third in line, and I saw her, and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna say I'm gonna introduce myself. I'm gonna ask her, invite her to be on my show. And next thing you know, I walked up to the table. She looks at me like this and smiling. I looked at her like, ah, shit. What am I supposed to say now? So I was like, I went to say something, and I bit my lip, and she started to laugh. So like, don't mind me. I'm just a little starstruck. So, and there
yeah,
was no.
I know. I had one. Um, Many. I have many, but one that always drives me crazy is Ricky Martin. I love him. I mean, I met him a few times when I was still in Brazil, but every time he's in town and I try to go see him and I actually get to see him, I even like, oh my God, what am I saying? What? Yeah, it's crazy. I know.
What about, it's kind of funny. We're at Dove, and then I told her the whole story, about my show. And it's funny, I kept shaking her hand. I don't know if I was shaking her hand or she was kept shaking my hand, but she says she's the real sweetest person you ever got to meet. And then I met the Velvet Sky, I met Ashley, I met my idol, Brett the Hitman Hart. Um, Back in a couple of years ago, 10 years ago actually, wasn't? Yeah, 10 years ago, I met Steph Myers. These are like people who you watch on TV, and then you
Right.
get the chance and you're right in front of them, and you're kind of like, is this real or is this just my imagination? And even you mentioned certain people you met, but it's kind of like, yes, they're just normal people, but they have this glow or
But
halo around them that it's kind of like, yes, they're normal people, but why are you like hesitating around them?
mm-hmm. Right.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you is, what were some of your favorite sports and activities growing up, and what did you learn from working with people that were deaf?
Uh, I mean, activities. I was never very good in activities, like much of like how to say, like physical activities or anything. I always I like to study a lot, so I'm always in my room. If I could be like a professional student, I would be. I love learning new things, and I'm always like searching new stuff. What to do. Um, so, like growing up, I really don't even remember much of like any activity that I used to do. Um, I know I've been like to all kind of classes, all kind of like I got out of school, I would go to painting class, tap dance, jazz, uh, swimming class, English class, Spanish class. All I would go everywhere. I have all kind of classes after school. Um, so I guess my activity would be like, if it's gonna be like physical, would be more dancing and kind of like let's say like body, art kind of thing, like performing, dancing, and ballet, all those kind of things. But as far as applying those to like working with deaf, I don't have any real application to that. But what I do have is because I had that since I was young, I have this admiration of, like I said, body language and making art just with your body. You don't need a paintbrush. You don't need clay. You don't need anything. You just you yourself. And show the beauty of communication without any sound. You don't even need an instrument or anything. You're not singing. Nothing. So since I grew up with all this kind of like dancing and performing and things like that, that's what I kind of like attract me more when I saw deaf actors performing, and that's what I love to watch them do, and I try to work with them to give more and more opportunity for them to show that beautiful art that they have.
No, I agree. Everything in life has it's a beautiful art. You just have to stand back and appreciate it.
Say that again?
No, everything in life is beautiful art. You just have to
Right.
stand back and appreciate it.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do now. Like give more of opportunities so I can just watch them doing that art. That's my idea now. Like you do your art, I just watch and appreciate it.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back with the last 10 minutes, I'm going to pass the show over to you.
Okay.
Me, Mark Medley.
Hi everybody, this is Mark Neely.
Barry Papick.
This is Peter Bruno.
My name is Kyle Collier.
This is Julio Santiago, better known as Dynamite.
I'm Richard Epcar.
Orange Chow.
This is Kerrigan Mahan.
This is Goldar.
And we both support
Keith Andrew.
My name is Ron Wasserman, and I am supporting Keith Andrew on what he is doing, and you better do the same, or I'm gonna come kick your ass.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Keith Andrew Network. This is episode 428, and I'm here with Claudia. With the last 10 minutes left of the show, I'm going to pass it over to you. What do you want to talk about? This is your time.
Okay, so yeah, I can talk about the projects that I've been developing lately. One of them it's a series, a film series that I started about maybe 3 years ago, and that's the one that I was talking to you about. That I've done a couple films before under my name, and then I decided to do the company. But the thing is, the film series, it's a series that I created, and they are films that have no dialogue. The reason it has no dialogue is because I don't want any person hearing that, whatever, to see who is the deaf, who is not. Obviously, I have deaf and hearing in the film, and because there's no dialogue, so you cannot say who is the one who will be signing. So if he's signing, they are obviously that's the deaf actor. So there's no dialogue for that. I don't want anybody to see already thinking, oh, this person can do because he's deaf or he's deaf, and already kind of pre-predicting that they are not a good actor because they already know who is the deaf person.
Right.
So there's no dialogue. So when they go watch it and they try to figure out, oh, this is the deaf person, this is the hearing person, there's no discrimination because of that, because they took out the dialogue. And also the name doesn't have anything to do with deafness. So the name, it's The Strength Within You. All the films are about finding out the strengths that you have, that you can change your life for yourself. You don't need anybody to do it for you. You don't need unless it's some situation that being strength is actually seeking help, which we did is one about suicide, depression. A person, would show more strength if they seek help for themselves, to help out with their mental illness and everything. That's a strength. That shows strength. But other than that, a person can find their own strengths and change their lives and make it happen for themselves, be happy, So that's the whole all the films on the series has that message, that they can define themselves. And there's, like I said, there's no dialogue, but all the series are done with deaf and hearing people. The other project that I have is now is a feature film that is about deafness, and that feature film is about how the hearing world will see deafness. It's a comedy, so it brings all the kind of craziness that hearing people think that deaf cannot do, and then they found out that they can do, and then they go crazy. Like, how come? But it's pretty funny. I know, like, we had one quick preview, and the audience was laughing like nonstop. So it's pretty funny. But it's all about how it's a journey of the hearing people getting into the deaf world and trying to understand what can be done, why they think that they cannot do when you don't know them, why they think that it's impossible to communicate. That's not. There are ways to communicate. There are ways to learn. There are ways to do other things. And so that's the whole. It's going to be a feature film, and hopefully we're going to get about an hour and a half. And so those are the two projects that I'm doing now. Like I said, I work mostly with deaf, so I'm like everything got one deaf here, one deaf there. It's pretty amazing how in both projects I have a lot of people from the crew that never seen or even met a deaf person before. So they had no idea they were going to be able to actually work with them. And then they got to the set and they completely changed their mind. There were people coming to me, oh my God, if you have another project like that, you let me know. I want to be part of it. I want to go continue working with you because, I want to see other projects with the deaf. They learn ASL, they learn, not a lot of words, but they learn a couple, signs just to communicate with the deaf on set. And they want to go to school to learn more. You change people's vision all the time. I do a project like that, so that's my idea, my goal actually. For continue working with deaf actors is to bring the hearing world to understand that you shouldn't be afraid. You shouldn't give the opportunity without having any hesitation, on working with those people with disability, because there's no real, problem in having them on any kind of situation, at least not on set. For sure, we always had no problem and have a lot of good reviews from the people that actually work with them, So, and that's something that Hollywood keep talking about. That it should have more diversity, it should have more disability, included in accessibility and all those kind of like inclusions, things like that. That's one thing that with this project that I'm doing, at least the series, it's a lot aim about that. That is to show to the new Hollywood, the new people that are coming in, student, or even experienced people. I have many of them that are already experienced come to set kind of afraid, but then once we actually do this, finish the shooting, they were, oh, okay, I thought it would be crazy, but, yeah, I'm okay, I'm good, no problem. So it's pretty amazing work, to change people's mind and open more to access to, the people that has some kind of disability. In my case, deafness.
No, absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air. Wrapping up our interview segment, I have two last questions for you. The first one is, are you on social media? Are you on LinkedIn, Twitter, States32? How can people follow you?
Okay. I do have Twitter, I have Facebook, I have Instagram. I do have an account on Stage32, but I don't use much. I just open it, so I don't even know much how to use it. But there's it, and you can find me everything. It's Katia Belas. Not much change. They all Katia Belas.
And my last question for you, wrapping up our segment, is when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction? And after being a guest, how do you feel now?
Well, I didn't. My reaction was like I was mostly concerned is that if you misunderstood who I am, because I have like I said, I mean I work with deaf because I chose to, but once I start working with one person that is disabled, you open to be advocate for every kind of disability. Right. So I don't care what kind of disability you have, or I don't mind, I don't care. I'm just okay. Let's do it. I want to help whoever it's around there that needs help, that need understanding, that needs a platform to show more. But my concern was that you understand that I am not. I was like kind of like, okay, maybe you just want to interview people that have a disability, so you show other way, to other people what a person with disability is doing. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I don't have disability, but if you're okay interviewing me, that's fine. So that was the only concern I had. But since you're okay, no problems, you want to interview anyway, I'm like, okay, cool. So everything is fine.
Yeah, well, on the subject, it's funny, because I'm talking about myself in the thing. I'm in the interview. Well, in the interview. In the invitation, I say, my name is Keith, and this is the whole show. And I'm showing people with a disability, look at what I can accomplish. And somehow, halfway through, and you're one of them, it gets twisted around. It's like, I don't have it. And that's not poking fun, but I'm going to say I don't have a disability. Or there are some of my favorites like, how the hell do you know I have a disability? Yeah. I have that too. But it's because I'm talking about myself, and people, when they read it, they project themselves onto it. So I can see where you're coming from. And there's other people, it's like, how did you know I have a disability? I'm like, I didn't know you have a disability. Thank you for sharing. But I was talking about myself. Right. But, it's funny because you get different reactions. But the point I'm making is saying, am I going back to the front? Labels don't dictate who you are and who you're going to be. I saw you work with deaf people, and that's one reason I approached you. The other reason I approached you was I like giving people an opportunity. If I have to die, I would like to be remembered as someone who made an example, someone who gave me an opportunity. That's why when I look for someone, either if they're good looking or I like what they do, I would like to extend my hand to them in friendship and say, this is what I'm doing, and I want you to be a part of it. I want to give you an opportunity. And that's what I'm about, giving people opportunities.
Good. Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
No,
Thank
absolutely.
you for giving me the opportunity.
I do have a couple questions for you off the air. Wrapping up our interview segment, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Okay, great. Thank you. You too.